What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Volts Comics and More. I'm Alex, and today I'm going to be wrapping up the story for Secret Empire. So I'm going to be kind of jumping around a little bit, but again, definitely great artwork, great story to read, great, great way, or great, a great way to introduce a new chapter for Captain America. Um, Definitely something that great adventure he has to overcome, and definitely worth the read. Right now, I'm going to go through basically the main things that happen. So yes, there are spoilers for the story, major spoilers for the story, more than likely. But yeah, so let's get started. All right, starting with number 4, actually, right now. This right here is a combination of Ultron and Hank Pym. And to learn more about that story, if you guys want me to do a video on it, it kind of starts towards the end of this book right here, Rage of Ultron, and starts back up again with these from the Uncanny Avengers, number 9, 10, 11, and ends at 12. The storyline goes as the man who fell to Earth, and basically has Ultron Reborn, the return of Pym and Ultron, and I believe I kind of partially explained this in another episode where Hank Pym and Ultron kind of merged. So his story kind of continues on in Secret Empire number 4. Basically, he just kind of pops up whenever he's most needed. And I think I talked about the storyline before. But we got... Here you have the Avengers versus Avengers, basically, is what's happening. This is all in Ultron's fortress. And this is kind of like a really, really awesome throwback to Civil War. And Tony Stark, even though he's just an AI right now, he and Steve Rogers, Hydra Steve Rogers, kind of go at it the same way that they did back in the Civil War. So this is kind of like it's just a Easter egg, or like a teaser from back when Secret Wars first or Civil War first started, and how the conflict between them kind of always, there's always going to be a little bit of conflict, because there's always, this, like, Iron Man feels this way, Steve Rogers feels that way. There's always going to be that. However, they do reach an understanding and they do work together from time to time. But there's always, like in the Secret Wars, there was the what if the Civil War never ended. There was Civil War number 2, where he goes up against Captain Marvel, and I believe Steve Rogers was actually on the side of Iron Man during that time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were. I think I kind of remember thinking that's kind of odd, since the first Civil War was about them butting heads. But anyway, so they're fighting amongst themselves. The Hydra Avengers and the Good Avengers are fighting amongst themselves in Ultron's. I forget if it showed. Not necessarily, okay. Well, here you see Pym Ultron combo just kind of like talking to itself, talking to Jarvis, or well, Jarvis that he created, and this is kind of like the inside. He basically recreated Pym Ultron kind of recreated the original Avengers mansion, and so that's what you're seeing there and here and kind of like around him. Um, he created his own version of it, and after all they're fighting, he kind of comes in, takes them out, and they wake up in shackles. And there's Pym Ultron with his Kiss the Chef apron on, or Kiss the Overlord, I guess, in his case, apron on. But yeah, that's a dining hall from the made to look like the original Avenger Mansion dining hall. I know there's a little bit of glare on there. I'm sorry. But yeah, and basically, Ultron is pretty much talking to him like, why is there all this fighting? You know, why have things always changed? He just he's also mad. This is from when I talked about Ultron earlier, or Pym Ultron earlier, when I said like you don't really know if Ultron is wearing Hank's skin as kind of like a trophy, like, hey, look, I killed my maker, you know. Um, so don't really know if it's that or if it's Pym that finally controlled Ultron. But you know, here you see, even if it is Pym that finally controlled Ultron, here you see his like rage just kind of like go out, like um, yelling that he's the founding member of the Avengers and that he deserves respect. I deserve to be taken seriously. And then you got Tony Stark's AI laughing his butt off, and it's just saying that uh, that is the most Hank Pym thing I've ever heard anyone say. So it's kind of saying he's kind of saying, you know, like you're being you're complaining about this, and it's exactly something that Hank Pym would do. So again, it just kind of throws into the mix about like, you know, who's who, what's what type thing. Um, and Steve Rogers is trying to tell Tony to basically shut up, and you know Tony is, or again, this is the AI of Tony Stark. Um, but you know Tony's basically saying, "Is this what you've been doing this whole time? Been in a dollhouse? Just kind of feeling sorry for yourself." And he brings up what happened with Janet, and yeah, that kind of triggered something. And stories back, Pym had actually abused Janet as his wife. Um, so it kind of they had like a really bad falling out, and it's something that he's always regretted, and he just with the combination between that and having Ultron in him, I mean, you know, Ultron has all of Hank Pym's memories, like everything that Hank Pym has gone through, that knows and everything. It's still all there. That's why he's getting so mad at this. But at the same time, I don't know. I still don't really know um, if it's Ultron controlling Pym or wearing Pym's skin as a trophy and just he has the memories there, or if it's Pym being overrun by Ultron. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. So I'm gonna move on past the Ultron story. Um, Steve Rogers. There is one more thing here. I'm sorry. Steve Rogers confronts Ultron. or Pimultron, and there they are talking to each other, and he's saying, or Ultron saying, "You keep calling me Ultron," and Cap replies with, "Wait, is that what you?" And he comes back at him with, "No, of course not. I would never be so petty, but it's something to consider, isn't it? If I were Ultron, if he still controlled me rather than the other way around, and if he really did build this city with the intention of waiting for that approaching moment when humanity destroys itself, well, then it'd be easy to see why he'd do this, yes?" So, take that into consideration, as you will. They all kind of leave. They all go their separate ways. That's the team of the normal Avengers, or the good Avengers, I should say. They all go their separate ways. Steve Rogers does let him go. It's just, that was kind of Secret Empire #4. It's kind of all like that's their middle section. Like that's their common ground. Like they're not gonna fight each other. Well, they started out fighting each other there, but at the end, they're just like, all right, we'll go our separate ways. Next time, I'm not gonna let you guys off the hook so easily, though. As far as Hydra is concerned. Anyway, then I'm gonna skip ahead to #6, Secret Empire #6, cover on here with the Hydra Avengers. Basically, the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about in here is the fact that, well, #1, they brought the Hulk back. And you have like a fight scene between the Hulk and Ben Grimm's The Thing. And the Hulk is only back for a limited time. Hydra revived him. He was one of the fallen in Civil War II. Hawkeye basically shot Bruce Banner with a arrow that would not only kill Banner, but it had a serum that was developed by Banner to counteract the Hulk. But he had to get it. He had to fire the arrow just as Bruce Banner was turning into the Hulk. So I think like if Bruce Banner was already the Hulk, then it'd be too late and it wouldn't have. It'd just be wasted. So Hawkeye had to make a decision right away, and Hawkeye, even though like you watch him in the movies and stuff, he doesn't really have any powers other than being able to shoot a bow and arrow, with incredible accuracy. By the way, there is something that he has in his brain. I can't think of the exact term for it, but basically he can see things more clearly, more sharply. And so he saw, like, everyone else is staring at Banner. Nobody else saw this. But he could see at a far distance these, like, green veins growing in his eyes, as he described it once. As he once described it. And he took that opportunity and it's like, all right, well, it's going to be now or never. And this guy's going to Hulk out. So he fired his arrow and instantly killing the Hulk. Or Banner. And he's been brought back a couple times. I think right now they're going to bring him back more permanently, and as part of the No Surrender type storyline. I'm about 2 books into that. I think they've completed the series. I'm definitely gonna have to catch up on that. If you guys want to learn more about that, though, let me know in the comments below, and I can definitely get on that. However, the biggest thing I wanted to point out in this one was again Steve Rogers and Tony Stark going back at it, just like in Civil War. And actually, if I can pull it up here, here we go. There's even a spot here, and yes, that's the Hulk in the background there too. But this is actually directly brought from the pages of the first Civil War, and at the top there as well, where they have that's so iconic as far as Civil War goes. They even included at least that scene into the Civil War movie, even though the Civil War movie was a little bit, it was kind of out of sorts with the actual comic book origin. That was one of the biggest Easter eggs that was in there, was this picture right here, and that's just one of the more iconic pictures here for Civil War, with Cap and Iron Man fighting each other. But of course, now it's for a different reason. But anyway, I just thought that was cool, and just kind of wanted to bring that little Easter egg to you guys. So now I'm going to go ahead again, jump ahead again to number 7. This is going to be a major spoiler, death spoiler. This is kind of, this picture right here kind of reminds me of the first appearance of the Punisher in Spider-Man, where Punisher is standing where Black Widow is standing, and Spider-Man is down here. And actually, right now, Miles Morales Spider-Man is in that picture, fighting Captain America. And this whole thing actually started way back in Civil War number 2, where this Inhuman had shown Miles Morales his future. And that's basically what all of Civil War 2 is about. If you want me to go more in depth for the Civil War 2, again, for that also, let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear from, and the way you guys want to see it and stuff, because I know I've tried a few different kind of videos. So let me know if you guys like this way better, this way that I'm doing right now, better than any other way that I've done before, like with the Legos or something like that. You know, it's totally up to you guys, whichever you guys prefer. I can do either or if you guys have any new ideas for me to try out that you guys want to see, I can definitely try those out too. No problem at all. But anyway, getting back to the storyline here, yeah, basically way back in Civil War 2, before we even knew about the Secret Empire, Miles Morales Spider-Man was shown a vision of him killing Captain America on the Capitol steps. And this is basically where that vision is coming into play. Now, Black Widow is trying to stop him. This is just part of a flashback to the vision that had happened. And Black Widow had actually started a Red Room. And I think I talked about this before, but she started a Red Room for basically all the champions, the younger heroes, and that's what they were doing this entire time during the Secret Empire. They were basically training to take down and kill Steve Rogers. And Black Widow didn't want to put Miles through that, though, in the end. So she's like, all right, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to, you know, she traps him on the Quinjet that they're on. And there's the Capitol there. And so basically she doesn't, like I said, she doesn't want to put him through this. She doesn't want him to, she's realizing that these are just kids. And that the Red Room is, even though it is really, really, really incredibly hard on kids these ages, which actually one of them, Nadia Pym, Hank Pym's daughter from a different girl, which I believe she had died. I'm going to have to rewind and go back to that storyline. But actually it was kind of introduced in the Wasp #1, or in the Wasp series. She was talking about how she came from someone different other than Janet Van Dyne, how Hank Pym was married before Janet, but something happened. I want to say she died, but I could be wrong on that. I'm sorry if I am. I'll definitely look that up. But anyway, um, so she is Hank Pym's daughter, but she grew up in the Red Room. Basically, is my point. And but she's much younger than Natasha, than the Black Widow. So she's still just a kid, even though she knows what the Black Room's like. But she's nothing like the Black Widow. She's not. She's more science. Like she doesn't want to get into the killing aspect of everything. She was more into the science aspect of everything. So like father, like daughter. So anyway, we're getting back here to the storyline, and you got Black Widow and the Punisher in his Hydra suit. If I can get like a really good panel, because I love this artwork for it. It's just pretty much all like one big major fight scene, and I just love how they did it and stuff. But yeah, here's a closer look at the Punisher's new insignia for Hydra. But basically, she ends up, you can tell there, those are swords running through the center of his legs, and that kind of put him out for a moment, to say the least. Moving on. She confronts Captain America, and he definitely has her thrown off. That is actually fill focus. There we go. That was actually her jaw breaking there. And she hits the ground. And that's all he wrote for her. Miles confronts Steve Rogers and basically is beating him there to a pulp, has him kind of, like ready to die, but he changes his future. He changes what was seen for his future as the hero that he is, and basically the Hydra soldiers are carrying him away, and that's pretty much it. Goes back to show where Steve Rogers has been this entire time, which I don't think I've mentioned that yet. This is all in an alternate universe. Basically, the real Steve Rogers has been in an alternate universe this entire time. When Kobik revived him into his younger body, she not only made the new Steve Rogers Hydra a new past with a Hydra upbringing, I should say, but she left the real Steve Rogers in this kind of pocket dimension, and he's always searching for a way out, and that's pretty much. Here's the Hydra new suit for him there. This is number 10. This is the final one. Other than the victory one that I showed you before, I don't think I'll actually have time to really go over that. But anyway, as I was saying about the pocket dimension, he's trying to find his way out the entire time. Different things are happening. He's running into old villains, as you saw in that last panel. The Red Skull was there and stuff. And he eventually runs into Kobik, and Kobik's like, okay, everything's falling apart. Everything isn't what I thought it would be. It's not what I was taught that it would be. And she wants him to come back. She wants the original Steve Rogers to come back. And this is why I said earlier in my videos before that she's kind of, in a way, innocent in all this, I feel, um, because she was taught one way. As a cube, as an inanimate object, she was taught one way. And then Shield um, made her sentient, turning her from an inanimate object to an animate object, and um, therefore creating Kobik, the little girl that was once a cube, the cosmic cube. And she didn't know. I mean, you try telling a 5-year-old not to do something. I mean, they know right from wrong in a sense, but I mean, you grow up one way and you're taught a certain thing, especially at that age. That's, you're still being taught that. So she still believes from her father, the Red Skull, that, this is the right way. She learns on her own that's not. And so she brings back the original Steve Rogers Captain America. And long story short, end up fighting each other. So this is the Hydra Captain America. This is the real Captain America. So that goes back, all the way back to me saying, when you read the Steve Rogers Captain America, and a lot of people are upset that says Hail Hydra, that was not him. That was nowhere near the same Captain America. As a totally different person created by Kobik. And so, I mean, I understand that, like when you first saw it, it was kind of surprising and you didn't see it going any other way. In all honesty, I always wondered, like, why would they take this direction? What are they expecting to happen out of the storyline? And so I stuck with it. I got into the Thunderbolts and stuff, and it all came together into the Secret Empire. And basically, you see here in their final battle, Mjolnir's there, and they're getting up from their last major punch that was obviously kind of devastating, or kind of, hard hit on them both. But they go over to the hammer, and as you see here, the description actually changed on the hammer, which I know that's reading it upside down. Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be strongest, shall possess the power of Hydra. So even Mjolnir was transformed in this whole Hydra ordeal, and this is actually, in this storyline, is the only time when Mjolnir's ever had this kind of problem. Like, it wasn't, I don't believe that it ever had an effect after standoff, like in the Thor comics or anything like that. I don't think it was until this whole Hydra takeover when the inscription actually changed. But then they go on to say it's time to see the truth, and you see here the Hydra, Steve Rogers, is actually having trouble lifting it, whereas before, he just lifted it. It's like, here, I got the hammer now. And Captain America, our Captain America, the right Captain America, goes over into it and says, here, let me try. And the inscription is changed back to the normal inscription that we all know and love. Whosoever holds his hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. And just a great action shot. The pure classic Captain America fighting Hydra. I mean, caption this shot. What do you guys think of that shot? because I can't really put it into too many words because it's just the complete embodiment of like what Captain America really is. Um, Captain America fighting Hydra, the pure raw strength of Hydra. I mean, that was everybody's greatest fear. That's why nobody wanted to read it because that was everybody's greatest fear, and he defeated it. Um, then he hands back his shield to Falcon, hands back the hammer to Thor, and this is actually like the last time you're going to see Falcon being Captain America. Um, he does go, as I said before. I believe I mentioned that he does go on to lead the Avengers the same way they did before, but he's in his all new Falcon suit and everything. So this is actually the last time you'll see him in there. And here's just a great action shot. It says Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Everybody's returned to Earth. Everybody's back. Um, Here you see, and this pocket dimension that they had mentioned was called the Vanishing Point. When Kobik returned, she gave a select few people this gift to go through the Vanishing Point, and this included Miles Morales, Amadeus Cho, Hulk, Sam Wilson's Captain America, Captain Marvel, Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel, Jane Foster's Thor, Laura Kinney's Wolverine, and Riri Williams' Ironheart. That's all of them there going to the Vanishing Point, and then all of them returning from the Vanishing Point in this next panel. Everything that happened in that Vanishing Point, this actually leads all into... I thought I had it out there, I'm sorry. But anyway, it all leads into the Generation storyline. And basically the Generation storyline was... Oh, here, it's so much easier. All these. It's basically they got to go see their model, like their role models. So Captain Marvel, for example, Captain Marvel was with Marvel. Ms. Marvel was with Captain Marvel. Riri Williams actually went into the future to see Tony Stark as the Sorcerer Supreme. Miles Morales was back with Peter Parker Spider-Man, and Thor was back to Thor back in his Viking days. So you get the gist of it. There was also Jean Grey's Phoenix too.